Are you recording the webinar?
Me.
No. It's being recorded. I'm wondering who is recording the webinar. Hey everyone, welcome to join our webinar today. While we are waiting for, which screen am I sharing? Can you see my screen, Courtney and Gabby? Okay, perfect. So while we are waiting for more students to join our webinar, I want to have you check in first. So if you can, please scan the QR code on the screen to check in, so we can get your attendance and also get your email address as well. So we are gonna send you a follow-up email with some information that we cover today. So I will give you just 1 minute to scan the QR code to check in. When you check in, make sure that you put your email address correctly. And later I will be putting the check-in link in the chat as well. So if you if the QR code is not working, you can also use the link to check in as well. And also we have the Q&A on Zoom as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put in the Q&A section. We are monitoring the Q&A as well. All right, so before we start our webinar, I do want to talk about our ISSC events page. You can scan the QR code to get into the ISSC events page. I usually post all of our FSC, ISSC, FSE events on that page. So if you want to see what kind of events we have for you, you can just go to that page. And then you if you click on the category by Fulton Engineering School, then you will see all of our Fulton events there. Here are some events I want to highlight for you. They are happening in the next 2 weeks. So as you all know, like February is the career development month. So we have FSC career fairs for you. And maybe some of you have attended the cover letter resume session already. But next Tuesday, we are working with the FSC Career Center again. So we are going to host a Navigating FSC Career Fairs session. So if you attend that session, you will get some tips of how to navigate FSC career fairs, and you know how to take advantage of the FSC career fairs. And we also have the graduation and post-OPT webinar for FSC international students only next Friday. Because FSC students are STEM eligible students, so we want to host a webinar for you to specifically cover OPT for those STEM eligible students. And then the following Monday, we have FSC CPT webinar. Courtney, they will be talking a little bit about CPT later in our presentation. But if you want to get more information about internships or working off campus as an international student, you can go to the CPT webinar. And also we have FSC International Alumni Mentorship Program. So I work with FSC alumni a lot. And we just added FSC Alumni Panel this semester. So one alumni will be attending the panel on February 6th. So they will be talking about how you can make intentional networking for your job search. So if you're interested, please make sure that you join those sessions. All right, so I will stop talking and then I will hand it over to Courtney and Gabby so they can help you navigate the fellowship application.
Okay, let me pull up our presentation. And yeah, it looks like there's a question in there that maybe you can better assist with than us. But my name is Courtney Walls. I'm the Assistant Director over Scholarships and Fellowships in Fulton Schools of Engineering. And I'll let my co-presenter introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Gabriella Beltran. I'm a Scholarship and Fellowship Specialist within the Fulton Schools of Engineering.
And we have been working in financial aid and scholarships for quite a while. So we really like doing this presentation to get some timely information to students, because over the years we hear the same questions, right? The scholarship search can be just a very overwhelming process for students. So a lot of times students just aren't even sure about where to start. And once they do get started, they find one of two scenarios. Either there aren't any that apply to them, or they find the opposite. They're overwhelmed by the number of opportunities that they see, and they're not sure which ones are quality opportunities to spend their limited time on. But it is our hope that with the information that we share with you today, you'll feel a little more confident in your scholarship search and be able to secure the benefits of scholarships and fellowships. So I know that the reason most students are interested in securing scholarship and fellowship support is the additional educational funding, right? This can help pay your tuition. This can also be helpful with some of your day-to-day expenses while you're a full-time student. But it doesn't end there. So all of our Fulton Schools scholars are actually invited to a donor appreciation breakfast. And this is a great opportunity for networking, since many of our Fulton Schools donors are actually industry professionals. So it could potentially be a pathway to an internship or perhaps a job after graduation. And even a mentoring relationship could conceivably develop by some of the connections you make through being a Fulton Schools scholar. Additionally, it's something that can potentially enhance a resume if you receive a prestigious fellowship and looks good in an application. You're already in grad school, but maybe to a PhD program if you're a current master's student, or if you're looking to further your education in some other capacity. So a lot of students are always wondering, am I actually going to get selected for this opportunity? And yes, we do award a pretty high volume of scholarships to students from our privately funded undergraduate scholarships and graduate fellowships. It keeps us busy. So last year we awarded just under 700 unique awards to just under 600 unique students. On average, these private fellowships are going to be about $3,000, though if you look at the range, you can see that there's a lot of variation. So some are as small as just a couple $100s, but the largest that we awarded last year was actually all the way up to $21,000. So definitely worth your time invested in applying to have a chance to secure this type of funding. In addition, this can be combined with many forms of financial aid that you might already have. So if you're a domestic student, it can be combined with loans that you receive through the FAFSA. If you've got like a NAMU, it can go on top of that. And if you are either like a research or teaching assistant with your department, yes, you can even stack these awards on top of that type of benefit. So lots of benefits to applying for these. So let's talk about how you do it. The first step for success is definitely having a plan, and that's what we'll talk about today. So we'll go through the timeline and search tips and give you an overview of the two main places you'll be looking: our engineering scholarship portal, as well as Scholarship Universe. Then we'll kind of switch gears and talk about constructing a winning essay and touch on some other available funding sources. So tip number 1, plan your search strategy. So we always encourage students to start local. And what do I mean by that? I mean closest to home. So for all of you who are attending ASU, ASU is your home school and will be your best resource for funding opportunities. Even closer to home is Ira A. Fulton Schools of Engineering. That's why I always say that our engineering fellowship portal is the first and best place for you to be applying for funding. The reason for this is these are fellowships specifically intended to support students like you who are pursuing either a master's or PhD through Fulton Schools of Engineering. You're not competing against other ASU students of other majors, and you're also not competing against other students from other colleges. That being said, once you complete your engineering fellowship application, my next best advice would be to move on to ASU's scholarship portal. So we have a central scholarship portal at ASU open to all majors. In this case, you may find fewer opportunities than you do on our engineering fellowship portal, but it is another good place to check before moving out to some external resources. And the reason that I would just prefer you start with internal versus external is, again, these conceivably could be open to students studying at any institution in the US, sometimes any institution in the world. So the pool of students you're competing against, in theory, is much bigger than when you restrict it to ASU. That's not to discourage you from doing so, though. You definitely can find additional opportunities, especially looking into industry-specific type resources. So if you're looking into like honors society within your specific field, or even like alumni resources, and industry student organizations that support students who've graduated from majors like yours, if they don't offer a scholarship themselves, they sometimes offer links to other directories